The Summer I Turned Pretty is officially over, and wow, what a ride. This show has had a pretty interesting few years in the zeitgeist. So many debates and discourses, lots of TikTok edits, Twitter arguments, and think pieces have gone into discussing this show. It has been praised relentlessly as a masterpiece of romantic storytelling and shredded to pieces as the worst thing of all time, and yes, at times, it's a modern Shakespearean epic tale, with characters who embody different traumas and perspective as it pertains to gender roles, sexuality, and class relationships. The Royal Shakespeare Company writes, "There are themes in Shakespeare's plays that return again and again. Love, power, revenge, mistaken identity, insanity, and free will." Going through The Summer I Turned Pretty, we can see each one of these themes present, crafting a narrative that feels unmistakably Shakespearean. At the same time, the show does have that weird, shitty feeling of a tweeny bop romance that sells an unrealistic fantasy all the same, and I find that pretty fascinating. At times, its characters are written magnificently, and at other times, they're written really sloppily, with subplots that go on for way too long and lead us absolutely nowhere. Cough, Lucinda. I will stay talking about the show in this video. I know that the book adds more context, but I'm concerned with the show on its own merits as its own piece of art. I mean, the conklins are white in the books, which feels so wrong. And while I'm here, if you find yourself enjoying this video throughout, please do make sure to like and subscribe. The Summer I Turned Pretty involves two families, the Conklins and the Fishers. The Conklins are a proletariat working class family comprised of our protagonist Belly, her older brother Stephen, their mom Laurel, and their dad, whom is divorced from Laurel, John, and in a larger sense, her best friend Taylor. The Fishers are a bourgeoisie, wealthy family. Older brother Conrad and younger brother Jeremiah are the main love triangle that Belly finds herself in. Alongside them are their mom Susannah and their dad Adam. The show, I would say, more often than not, does write its characters pretty well, even if at times they can have really heightened emotions and be pretty cringe. The show can also be a bit jarring at first, introducing you to a ridiculous amount of characters in a pretty short amount of time, but it definitely gets into finding its own groove. So, without further ado, let's turn pretty. To start, let's talk Isabel Conklin, our protagonist, or Belly. Now, first of all, I want to say that I've seen a lot of people saying that her nickname Belly is bad. I saw a TikTok comment that got like 80,000 likes saying that the only reason they haven't watched the show is because her nickname is Belly and that it grosses them out. And you're wrong. Considering the context of the show, I think it makes a lot of sense that her nickname is this like stinky thing that family friends would give to her. You know, it's realistic and charming given their scenario. If Conrad was calling her Bella instead of Belly, or her mom was calling her Belle instead of Jellybean, I don't think it would be as charming as it is.
Do you want me to call you Isabel now?
No. No. I want you to call me Belly.
The initial introduction to Belly is that she has become pretty, as the show's title would suggest, and now she will have a love triangle with these hot brothers. Many people criticize this show for its weird relationships being the heart of it, and whilst I understand that, it's kind of a non-starter criticism for me. It is taboo, and the show knows that. It's intimacy between characters that are proposed to us as close as siblings, like cousins vibes with less defined lines. It's not ideal. It crosses a line, as many Shakespearean tales do. Messy, weird, taboo, line-blurring relationships can be used to tell amazing human stories. And this odd Puritan angle that some people use to criticize the show is just almost sort of ridiculous to me. Like what? We can't even handle some faux incest? It's not even real incest and you're all up in arms. It's like baby's first challenging relationship in art. Conrad is initially presented as the love interest of the show, whilst Jer is presented as the underdog. Conrad gets a slow motion intro and narration about his status as Belly's first crush. It is commented on that Conrad is Belly's prince, her lovely best friend in a special way. Wink, wink. As if the family is almost encouraging this relationship to blossom. Susannah, the Fisher matriarch, literally does on multiple occasions. It's kind of weird.
You're her Prince Charming, and we all know it.
No, that's not.
You've always been so good to her.
Conrad is very close to Belly in their youth, but upon this summer where she turns pretty, all of a sudden he becomes quite cold to her. We will later learn that this has more to do with his sadness over his mom's cancer diagnosis and not Belly specifically, though it does a little bit still. He pushes her away because he doesn't want to hurt her or whatever. Ultimately, they will date after overcoming this newfound coldness for 6 months in Belly's senior year of high school, but then they will break up. After this, she dates Jer starting college and stays with him for 4 years as they go to the same school, and then they get engaged. For this time, Conrad has been distant from the family, living in California, going to medical school. After years of deciding between these two brothers, Belly is left with a critical decision that will decide the fate of these two families. Thanksgiving and Christmases, father and sons, mothers and daughters, friends and enemies, lovers and situationships, dreams, careers, it all rests on Belly's choice. At its head, after years of these cringe young morons being cringe young morons, we get to a wedding of older cringe young morons. The lead up to this wedding defies all expectations as Belly goes with the underdog, but as it was kind of obvious, they end up calling off the wedding. Hearts have been laid bare, and now everybody loses. Jeremiah, Belly, and Conrad are all miserable. So that's Conrad and Jeremiah in reference to Belly, but we do need to talk about them on their own because they're fully fleshed out characters that represent different themes that are extremely important to understanding the love triangle. Conrad was a nerd growing up, whilst Jer was more outgoing, but Conrad and Belly always had more of a special bond. Jer is jealous of this, but not only that, Jer is also jealous of Conrad's relationship with his father, Adam. Adam and his sons have complicated relationships. With Conrad, he smothers him with unrealistic expectations and pressure, whilst basically emotionally neglecting Jer. This leads to them embodying very different trauma responses and attachment styles in their relationships to Belly, but the Fisher brothers and their dad are of course not the only fleshed out parental relationships. We cannot forget the moms, Laurel and Susannah, who are main characters in their own right, much more so than John and Adam. They are of course lifelong best friends, sisters by choice, and lovers by chance. Mayhaps. It's not canonical that they're lovers, but I mean, whatever they are, I guess it doesn't really need a label. They are very clearly fond of each other. They're physically intimate, trusting, comfortable, and open. They also see each other as actual co-parents, with the dads being secondary co-parents, and the show pushes us towards this idea with force.
He'll join us later in the summer. For now, it's just the woman and the children. Just the way we like it.
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
As such, Belly has really complicated relationships with both of these moms. And it's frankly impossible to discuss any of the relationships in the love triangle without understanding these relationships further. Belly and Laurel are both very stubborn. Belly very much takes after her, and they have a very real feeling mother-daughter relationship. Intense love with very intense fights and emotion. It can get heavy and hurtful. And remember, Laurel and the Conklins represent the working class. As such, she raises Belly and her brother Stephen to be modest and thankful. She gives curfews, hands out ultimatums, she parents this shit out of Belly and Stephen. Laurel is a power mom. Stephen is Belly's brother. They have a standard sibling vibe, sorta mean, but also lots of love. Stephen is inconsistently overprotective about Belly, but when it really comes down to it, he's meaningfully there for her when it counts. Stephen is also, of course, childhood friends with Conrad and Jeremiah, considering Jeremiah his number 1 boy and Conrad his number 2 boy. And he loves his boys, and they love him. Side tangent, Stephen is the king of saying bet. If you are like trying to have a dope night on the town with your boys, like, you know, maybe we're going to go to a club, or maybe we're going to do an escape room, or maybe we just want to order a pizza, you can always count on Stephen to go, yeah, bet.
Word, yeah.
He's down to clown, and for that we love him. But he's also a serial cheater, often having an on and off toxic relationship and cheating on his partners with Belly's best friend, Taylor. As Susannah is to Laurel, Taylor is to Belly. She's her sister by choice, and they hold a true love and fondness for each other. Belly even encourages Taylor and Stephen's relationship to get more serious at times, mirroring Susannah's push towards similar interlocking love that would create epic family. Taylor is played by an actress called Rain, which is just really cool, and I wanted to point that out. So, whilst Laurel is the serious parent, Susannah plays the role of the nice parent. She spoils Belly and expresses her love unabashedly and unconditionally. Belly is the daughter that she never had, and as such, Susannah feels a lot of love towards her. Also importantly, Susannah is full steam ahead on Belly and Conrad getting married, intentionally pushing towards this for a long time, which creates some pretty fucked up bullshit.
Isabel Conklin's not excited to eat a cupcake? Who are you?
Class is power in the modern world. Money is power. Ownership is power. The upper versus working class struggle is portrayed in this family's relationship. Laurel feels insecure that Susannah and the Fishers basically fund their entire lifestyle in the sense of their vacations and summer trips. Susannah is happy to do it, but Laurel still feels indebted to her, and this is one of the first details we learn about the Conklins.
Mom, Susanna has people who clean, doesn't she?
Steven.
Ow!
Mom's weird about money. The fact that Susanna has a lot and we don't.
Susannah is ridiculously nice. At points, it's almost eerie. Like, why is she staring like that? Hi, stop. We certainly see a venom that can come out of Susannah, though, when she's challenged. And it really makes me think of that sentiment from Bong Joon-ho's Parasite that she's nice because she's rich.
You know, I'm gonna be the one who has to clean all this up.
Well, nothing will make you happier.
Susannah married rich and funds an illustrious, picturesque lifestyle for not only her, but her loved ones without needing to work. She spends a ludicrous amount of money on events, vacations, holidays, cute clothes for pictures, everything. She spoils her kids and her best friend's sister wife. Early in the show, Susannah encourages Belly to participate in a debutante ball, which Laurel attests to, and other characters have a conversation about the history of debutantes in general.
Girl comes of age and is presented to society.
I cannot believe you are still holding on to this archaic dream.
It used to be about finding a husband, but now it's about networking.
The whole Deb scene is bullshit. It's for sheep.
The existence and morality of the Deb ball in society is still an ongoing debate, and of course, I'm not an expert on that, but from what I understand, Deb balls were originally kind of ways to show off women to potential husbands. Not only this, debutante balls were criticized for the classism of it all, these lavish events that are just being put on under the guise of womanhood. Nowadays, many Deb balls have shifted to be about the empowerment and agency of the women and not about her relationship to a man. The show presents pretty thoughtful conversations on class and femininity through this. Oftentimes, you will find musings about society at large that feel way beyond what this show is originally presenting to us. A huge part of understanding this show also comes from the settings, mainly Cousins Beach and the summer house. These places are so important as physical landmarks that you can essentially understand them as being representative of good life. In this way, Cousins and the house hold power as well. The power of representing financial freedom and an idyllic life. The power of existing as the best thing in your memories. The power struggle of class stays through this show at every corner. Many times this comes from Adam, Jer and Conrad's father. Adam haunts the narrative at every turn, whether it's his contention with Laurel about paying for the wedding or even lunch, whether it's cutting off Jeremiah financially, or whether it's directly influencing the behavior and choices of his sons, oftentimes unintentionally or off-screen. I would almost argue that across the entirety of the show, Adam can be viewed as the main antagonist. He also notably owns the summer house, and especially in season 2, this is a massive point of struggle as the younger members of the family try not to get him to sell it. They hold no power in that struggle. They have no money to barter with and have to appeal to his emotions. Adam is a CEO. He's a bigwig. He's rich. He golfs. He pays for weddings. He fucks his assistant. Conrad wants nothing more than to not be like Adam, whilst Jeremiah aspires to be just like him. But you don't want to be like Adam. Laurel doesn't like Adam. Adam's ex-wife doesn't like Adam. Adam is the stereotypical toxic rich white patriarch, almost comically at times.
Thanks again for this internship. It means a lot.
Well, now that you're going to be a husband, lifeguarding probably wasn't going to cut it.
Speaking of the wedding.
Now's not the time for this. You should be focused on work.
Right, but you were just saying earlier
Did you put the lunch order in yet?
No, not yet.
Then I would get on that. Make sure there's extra dressings.
Like, huh? Oh, I hate my stupid chud nepo baby lame loser son. Can't even fucking get the fucking honey mustard. Idiot. We see this tension infect Conrad and Jeremiah's relationship.
Can you be nice to Dad for one day? Seriously, he's trying.
Good for him.
It's easy to understand Jer as deeply insecure because of Conrad and Belly, because, well, he is. We see him mauling over Conrad from season 1, but resentment did not start there. It started from Adam and Susannah. Part of what makes Belly and Jer unbelievable is that Jer's truth is the fact that he likes being rich. He doesn't have realistic sensibilities, and that will create tension between them. We see Belly's working class sensibilities clash with Jer's upper class sensibilities leading up to their wedding. We see this rift growing stronger and stronger as they apartment search, delegate funds, and priorities are revealed about their plans for the future. In debates over Conrad and Jer, it's always like, oh, Conrad didn't get over her for 4 years. Oh, Jer shot a firework at them. But I find that this is the most compelling reason as to why Conrad is clearly the right choice in my opinion. We have 3 characters in the love triangle, and only one of them doesn't have a proper relationship to power. This is almost certainly a criticism that we could lob at The Summer I Turned Pretty, in the way that the love triangle simply isn't an effective love triangle. Like, we don't believe that there are two realistic choices. There is one choice, and then the one who keeps fucking with it. Jared just doesn't seem like a realistic option. He's naive about power, feigns incompetence at every corner, relies on other people way too much, and is kind of a bum nepo baby. And frankly, it doesn't help that Christopher Briney and Lola Tung's chemistry is a lot more endearing than Lola Tung and Gavin Castellano's. Now, in defense of Mr. Gavin Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I don't think this is because he's a bad actor. TikTok got on this train that he's a horrible actor. I found his portrayal of Jer to be realistic and good. I'm sure it was intentional in the casting that he had less chemistry with Belly. Laurel and Belly's financial modesty and anxiety extends to Steven too. Looking at Steven's relationship with Shayla, he expresses his insecurity about her wealth and his lower status.
I mean, I don't know if you haven't noticed, but I don't exactly fit in here. No, I grew up in the suburbs of Philly, all right? Not even that nice of a suburb. I drive a Honda Civic. I don't go to benefits or balls, whatever this is.
To play devil's advocate for Steven Taylor and the whole Lucinda plotline, if we compare that insecurity that he expresses to Shayla to his and Taylor's endgame relationship, I think it's really great that Steven is able to not directly financially help Taylor and Lucinda with their financial struggles, but guide them towards having Taylor fix that on her own accord. That at least gives us some finalized anchor as to why Steven and Taylor are the endgame here and why they're finally able to get their relationship to a healthy, stable point. This can also help us understand why Lucinda will never shut up about Steven. She's a Cam Cameron. She simply exists to push Taylor and Steven somewhere.
Did you just say not all men?
Hey, Steven's one of the good ones.
Steven clearly cannot be in a relationship with someone who is well off. He needs to have someone that understands that struggle, who understands what it means to work hard. And I think that completely makes sense. Now, is cheating the solution to that? No, but it's good that he was able to find that understanding in himself. Interesting to note that Laurel's relationships in the show mirror her children's at the times. When Conrad and Belly start to rekindle their relationship after many years of being apart, Laurel and John start to rekindle their relationship a little bit, at least with the sexual chemistry side of it. Steven and Shayla's dynamic mirrors the dynamic that Laurel has to Cleveland Castillo, with Laurel being a more indie author and Cleveland being an 80,000 follower on Instagram, big honcho, best-selling author. The power struggle between classes is playing out in so many relationships throughout this show. Power isn't always painted negatively, though. I mean, the summer house is happy, it's a good thing, and the power that that house holds is positive. Also, the sexual power that characters hold over each other is often a main draw of the show. From Steven and Taylor, to Conrad and Belly, to Laurel and John in Season 3. Adam's power is really the negative, the power that comes with being a white CEO patriarch.
How come nobody ever wants to play with me? Pretty please.
Revenge is a huge theme in Hamlet, one of Shakespeare's most beloved plays. Lee Jamieson writes for ThoughtCo. It is a play driven by a protagonist who spends most of the play contemplating revenge rather than exacting it. When he finally does exact his revenge and kills Claudius, it is too late for him to derive any satisfaction from it. The moment where Jer sneers in Conrad's face after the wedding is called off really harkens back to this for me. Jer lost. He's miserable, and we see now in this moment an insecure boy who wanted to derive pleasure from the fact that he stole Belly from Conrad.
She didn't choose me, but she didn't pick you either.
It's an act of revenge, maybe a revenge for stealing Adam's love in their youth. Jer displays this too whilst ordering steaks and trying on suits, making digs at Conrad with his dad rather than supporting his brother. But notably, in contrast to Hamlet, Jer never actually successfully enacts his revenge on Conrad. Whereas Hamlet kills Claudius, Jer's claim that Belly doesn't choose Conrad is proven untrue just a few episodes later. But we will see this elsewhere too. I mean, he has revenge sex in Cabo successfully, and that doesn't lead him anywhere positive either.
Kiss somebody who once fully shat in the bathtub.
Shakespeare loves to use mistaken identity to drive comedy, from A Comedy of Error to Midsummer Night's Dream. I mean, there's literally a subplot in Midsummer Night's Dream that involves a conflict between four lovers. This mistaken lover thing can be seen all over in The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'd make the argument that the deeper humor under the line, Belly, cacao is the bean. It's what the chocolate is made of. The entire flavor profile depends on the bitterness of the dark chocolate and the tartness of the raspberry, is wrapped within mistaken identity, because Jer is the wrong brother. If Conrad was the one she was engaged to, this ridiculous conversation would not even be happening. Thus, it's a play on mistaken identity. There are multiple times throughout the show where Belly was expecting Conrad only for Jer to show his face. But Conrad is not immune from mistaken identity jokes either, which is why it feels so gross when he says this.
Honey, really glad to have his little sister around again. How you been, little sis?
What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no! That's hell no! Whoa!
The show understands the oddness at the heart of all of this. There are 2 moms, 2 dads, 2 sets of siblings, and as such, we find so many scenarios where mistaken identity is a common joke. And we see it outside of the family too.
Flavia? Hi, it's me, Sextus.
What did you say to me?
At first, Belly thinks that this is him inappropriately coming on to her, but it's revealed that he actually played the character of Sextus in a play with her years ago. A misunderstanding coming from a mistaken identity.
No. Sextus. From 7th grade Latin convention.
Even the name of the most important setting in the show is a mistaken identity joke. I mean, come on. Cousins Beach? Really? That's so cheeky.
Can I do the swordfish, please?
Do not want to get canceled by the sailing community.
In I Was Crazy Once, an examination of Elizabethan insanity in Shakespeare's work, Hope L. Kobus writes, madness can be described as foolish behavior as well as being mentally ill. In his earlier shows, Shakespeare explores this foolish behavior, attributing it to a woman denying a suitor, such as in Taming of the Shrew, or a love madness, where the characters do irrational actions for the sake of love. Sound familiar? Conrad is the man who cannot be moved. At times, he is honestly a loser, isolating himself out of some weird, quiet love, and frankly, at times, he seems mentally ill. He has panic attacks, he can't properly communicate, no matter how obviously detrimental that is. He has a savior complex. Going to therapy and learning how to communicate is what really sets Conrad towards a path of health. Belly is, well, she's a fool. I mean, I'd say that telling someone to go to hell at their mom's funeral is a pretty mad thing to do. Wishing for your almost cousin brother every single birthday while he sits next to you is a pretty mad thing to do. Abandoning your dream of studying abroad in Paris to get married to a bum at the age of 21 is a mad thing to do. If Conrad is an immovable object, Jer is an unstoppable force. Oh, and he's also a fool. At every corner, he feigns incompetence and relies on other, which is a common trait of fools in Shakespeare's stories. He uses commitment as a weapon, knowing that Belly doesn't want to be alone just as he doesn't. Every character in this show is lovesick, making ridiculous, horrible choices for the sake of love, but that's part of the draw, that's part of the entertainment. And so that's why when I see like TikTok analysis of the shows where they say that these characters doing ridiculous things is a reason that the show is bad, it's ridiculous to me. It's a heightened reality. It's a story. Mad characters will make mad choices. That's about as Shakespearean as you can get, and I'm sorry, but I struggle to call that bad. Not sure if the target audience crosses over here, but what is it that Voss says in Far Cry 3?
The definition of insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Cough, Stephen and Taylor, cough, cough, Stephen and Taylor, cough.
Dream about this.
Before I even say anything,
I choose you of my own free will.
Shakespeare often would ponder in his stories about free will versus fate. Do Romeo and Juliet actually have agency? Is it fate that they will marry? Is it fate that they can't marry because she's a Capulet? Well, free will is upon thee. Juliet, will you marry me? Belly has many constructed ideals around fate that have been instilled into her by Susannah. She wants to get married to Conrad and have a nice family life, and eventually we can even think that she only ends up dating Jer because of that idea of fate around the Fisher family. We find that when Belly narrates about Conrad, she discusses fate a lot, but often when discussing Jer, she'll compare it to her fate with Conrad.
Susannah told me that when I was born, she knew I was destined for one of her boys. I always hoped it would be Conrad. But here I am, about to kiss Jeremiah Fisher.
Belly doesn't like Jer for who he is. She likes him for what he represents in contrast to her fate. I view a lot of her denial of Conrad in season 3 as more so a denial of herself. She's angry that she spent so much time believing in fate and thinking that that's the wrong thing.
How are we supposed to know if we love each other because we want to and not because we were told to.
You think that I love you because when I was 6 years old, my mother thought that we should get married?
No.
She wants to believe that she has free will, that her life wasn't constructed, but in this mission to find free will, she ends up boxing herself in and denying what it is that she actually wants out of life. After the toxic buildup and horrible fallout from the cancellation of the wedding, Belly feels a lot of shame and self-hatred. In Hamlet, he is drawn to revenge as it is his fate. And in The Summer I Turned Pretty, Belly is drawn to marrying into the Fisher family as it is her fate. That's why the free will line is so triumphant, because while we could view this as her backsliding, I think it's more so an acceptance of what she wants and who she is. It's okay for Belly to just want what she wants. She doesn't need to pretend that it's fate or that it's what was meant to happen. Finally, choosing Conrad of her own free will is the ultimate form of accepting herself. So I almost view this still as the ending being Belly choosing herself. Choosing yourself doesn't have to mean that you stay single longer. It can just mean accepting that you know what you want and that you were trying to dance around that for no reason.
Oh, nice spot. That is a young female humpback.
The Summer I Turned Pretty has been such a fun ride over the years, and this past month analyzing it in contrast to Shakespeare's works have been a really interesting project. I have an announcement to make now. I am full sending my fan cast of Christopher Briney as the DCU Batman. He's similar in age to David Cornsweet, he's got those yearning eyes that you could see under his mask, kind of like Robert Pattinson, and he's a brooder. He's good at brooding. Tell me that's not Bruce Wayne. I mean, also, he just kind of looks like the 90s Peter Parker. I mean, he is the 90s Peter Parker. Just get this guy in a superhero project, please. I do think The Summer I Turned Pretty often struggles with pacing and editing, and that's one of the major flaws that I always found with the show. For example, I loved when Belly first got to Paris and decided to chase after her air tags. I know a lot of people made fun of that, but that was the first time in her life that she makes a conscious choice in a time of vulnerability and fear to fix it herself. To not rely on her mom, to not rely on a Fisher brother, but to rely on herself. It's triumphant, and this swelling music as she runs out of the cafe towards her new life is great. It's awesome. It's the emotional climax of the episode. And then it cuts away after like 2 seconds to go back to some bullshit. Hold on this moment for Belly. Hold on the moment of your protagonist getting an emotional triumph. Like, I defended the Lucinda thing, but there is no way that Lucinda needed so much screen time that this had to be 2 seconds long. I'm interested to see what the movie will be like. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a video about it when it comes out if I find anything interesting to say about it. But until then, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed, definitely make sure to check out one of the other videos that are on your screen right now. Have a great day or night. Hippo out.